Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Arzu, the Vitality and More podcast. I'm truly excited and happy to be talking with you all. My name is Arzu Dogan, and I'm your host today. Some of you may already know me from my Instagram or Facebook pages, Vitality and More, or as the author of Follow Your Heart, Live, Eat, Be. This podcast is about connecting real conversations around wholeness and wellness. I share my wisdom around topics that will inspire you to make an inward journey, be curious, follow your heart to purposeful living, and find abundance within. Just a quick mention before we begin. This podcast does not in any way offer medical or professional health advice, as I am not trained in either of these areas. What this podcast does do, however, is offer a platform where we can have conversations to help guide us on our journey to becoming more whole, living a life of abundance, health, and happiness. After publishing my first book, Follow Your Heart, in late 2021, I've been wanting to share many conversations with you all. Conversations about what I've learned in my healing journey and what it means to live, eat, be, and follow your heart. I'm wanting to expand the whole essence of what Vitality and More is all about and create healthy, practical, and authentic conversations here so that you too can find alignment with life and know your why. So, if I haven't said it already, thank you for joining the conversation today. I'm so happy to be here. Let's get started with this week's episode on the topic of self-care and why it matters, episode 3. So let's talk about self-care and why it matters. What I've come to realize on my journey to wellness is this: self-care is not just a buzzword or about taking a bath or exercising or eating well. Whilst it is all of this, it's a little bit more and, let's say, deeper than that. Your physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional needs are all parts of you that require care. Let me repeat that. They are all parts of you that need care, especially if you want to live with love, health, purpose, and abundance fully. When we take care of our being fully, we nurture the mind-body-spirit connection. We nurture every ounce of our being so that we can be happy and healthy. When we fail to take care of ourselves is when we are disconnected and pain or dissatisfaction creeps in. Self-care is about tuning into your needs, your feelings, your heart, your body, your mind, your appetite, your life, and setting up realistic rituals for yourself for daily expressions of caring for each one of these elements that make you, you. Imagine what that would look like and feel like if you were able to practice self-care day in, day out, and practice it fully and consciously. I invite you to take the time to sit and reflect on what self-care means to you and integrate this feeling into being worthy of self-care. You are, I am, we all are worthy of self-care. The deepest form of self-care, put simply, is the ability to create a life that you love, a life that you thrive in, a life that rewards you with unlimited abundance, opportunities, and unconditional love and well-being. So earlier I mentioned that self-care is about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. It's a little like the engine in our car. If we don't get it serviced regularly, then it breaks down. If we don't practice self-care, then we too break down. Self-neglect kicks in. We lack self-esteem. We have ongoing dissatisfaction with our life. We have resentment for our work or relationships around us. Fatigue creeps in. And other things also suffer, like our intimate relationships. No one wants to be in this position, do they? It doesn't sound very pleasant. If we're looking at taking care of our physical health as a form of self-care, the first thing that comes to mind is movement. Movement is self-care. Our bodies are designed to move and get regular exercise. Just a 30-minute walk a day can boost your mood and improve your health. The thing you need to consider is what physical activity gives you the most joy. Is it going for a walk? Is it jogging, going for a swim, gym work, boxing, cycling, yoga, tai chi, Pilates, even gardening? Yes, Gardening can be physically strengthening your muscles and is movement. Choose a movement that works for you and that is in tune with your body, your abilities, and generally makes you feel good. Because the truth is this: the more you feel good, the more you look good. Health, beauty, mindset. It's all an inside job. And self care helps us nourish our bodies through physical movement. Another way we can explore self care is through caring for our mental health. This is obviously a big topic and one that probably deserves an episode to itself. But for the purposes of discussing self care of your mental health, we can look at some of the ways that you can care for this part of your life. Connection is important for your mental health. Stay connected to people, friends, family, places, and communities that make you feel alive, that make you feel happy, that support you, and make space for you. We can take small steps to nurture our mental health through social connections and conversations like podcasts to take care of our self care needs. Our minds, our thoughts, our actions reflect how we are feeling. When we have self awareness, we are nurturing our mental health and state of mind. When we are self aware, we can step back and observe our feelings, our emotions as they unfold. Self awareness is a way we can take better care of ourselves, have more self compassion, and nurture our self care. When we are aware, we are open and can lean into areas that need more self care, whether it be our physical health, social, mental, or relationships. I invite you to take small steps today to bring about more self awareness and self care into your daily life. Sit and tune in and see which part of you requires more love and bring self care into that. Our emotional health is paramount to happiness. Daily, our emotions are being bombarded with an overload of external forces, news, information, demands, which can often drain us. When we nurture or take care of our emotional health, it means we can deal with challenges differently and with perhaps more ease. Life can get difficult and things are changing constantly, which can really play on your emotions. But the important thing to note is that if we have set up healthy self care rituals, then we can find balance in today's world of noise and hustle. Make self care and time to switch off a priority. Your emotional health needs this to function. It's not healthy to be constantly tuned in or plugged into the news, negative information, or social media that might make you feel inferior. Try to shift the time spent on these and make more time for joy and self care. Another way we can practice self care is through self love. For me, they kind of go hand in hand, don't you think? The simple act of caring for your mind, body, and spirit is an act of self love. When we love ourselves unconditionally and fully, we are practicing self care. How do you love yourself? How do you talk to yourself? Is it with love, care, and kindness? Or is it with judgment and self doubt? When we love ourselves, we are kinder and use positive language. This is a form of self care. Good self care habits and tools are all you need for creating a life that you love, with the emphasis being on well being. Good nutrition, better sleep habits, and physical activities, as well as making time for joy, are all necessary for self care. The important message with the self care conversation is this: make happy, healthy, and achievable rituals that will serve you better, that will in turn make you feel better, do better, and have better. It's ultimately up to you how you want to make self care a priority in your life. My advice is to ensure that you take a pause daily for your physical activity. Pause daily for your mental activity, whether it's through journaling, meditation, reading, creating, just so you can practice self care and nurture these areas in your life. No one or no thing is going to do it for you. It really doesn't matter how little or how much you do. The important thing is to learn to make time to be and tap into your heart to see what needs to be nurtured on any given day. Some days you may feel like you need more sleep. Perhaps you need an early night, and other days it may be that you need to set or reset your personal boundaries with others so that you can have emotional and or mental clarity and ultimately more self-care. Healthy sleep patterns and habits are vital to self-care. When we get enough sleep, our mood is elevated, our energy levels are higher, we have vitality, and we feel happier. Some of the ways I like to implement healthy self care sleep habits are to create a bedtime routine. I like to unplug and unwind and switch off from digital equipment as well as TV prior to bedtime. Taking a soothing bath always helps. Drinking herbal tea right before bedtime that promotes good sleep hygiene always works wonders for me. The thing to note here is to be consistent. Be consistent with your self care rituals. Having enough sleep is super important to our health and well being, as it can reduce our risk of illness and stress on the body, as well as promote vital brain function. Setting boundaries is quite important also when we talk about more self care. You see, when we set personal boundaries, we are committing to our self care by honouring and respecting our own emotional, physical, and spiritual needs. What most people don't understand is that boundaries protect our well being, things and people that are important to us. Boundaries help set the tone about what we do and do not tolerate. Remember that you can practice good self care without feeling guilty and taking on another person's problems or issues, and even allowing them to take advantage of your kindness. Make your boundaries healthy and practical so that you can flourish more. So, when we prioritize our needs, we are practicing self care. When was the last time you did this? When was the last time you prioritized your day and dedicated some me time? Self care is not about being more productive or more successful. It's about your well being and happiness. It's about making time for you just the way you make time for your partner, children, family, friends, work, social media, pets, and everything else for that matter. You need to make time for your wishes, your feelings, your time. I invite you to create a daily self care checklist that prioritizes you. Make time for you because you are worth it, and your mind, body, spirit works in more harmony if you are taking care of it daily. Don't wait for illness to strike. It's usually not very pleasant and a sign or message from the universe, life, God, whoever you like to refer to them as, that you are not in alignment and you are lacking self care. Now, we've spoken about our emotional, physical, and mental well-being through self-care, but what about nutrition? We would all agree collectively now that eating good food, real food, is a form of self-care. Are you eating for life, eating for joy, eating for nourishment, eating for comfort, eating for boredom, eating mindfully or mindlessly? When we nourish our temple, our bodies with clean, organic, or whole foods, and in particular foods that are not processed and come directly from the earth or sustainably farmed, we are practicing self care. It's no secret that your body needs the right kind of fuel to perform at its best. As we said earlier, our body is like an engine of a car. If we don't service it through regular movement or healthy foods and a balanced diet, then we could be running ourselves into illness or poor immune function. And if it's not illness or poor immune function, then it's aging or other disorders and or other issues that you could be faced with by not having proper self-care in the kitchen. These days, whilst it may feel overwhelming as to which diet to follow with information overload, I always like to recommend going with what your body and mind feels like. Let me expand on this. I know, just as you do what feels good when I eat or drink it and what doesn't, gravitate to the foods that nourish you, that ignite your life force energy centers. You know, it's okay to have a break sometimes and eat that piece of cake or have a treat. But have some intention around it and don't beat yourself up about it if you do. Just enjoy the moment with whatever it is you are having, and then continue to practice your self care habits on everything else. It's all about balance. It's all about having fun. It's about being you and tuning into what is good for your body at the time. It's about nurturing every part of you all the time, not sometimes. The key to self care is to sustain whatever habits or rituals that feel good to you, that uplifts you over time for a life of wellness and happiness. Because when we are happy, we are healthy, we are in alignment and whole. A final point I wanted to encourage you to perhaps also consider with your self care routine and why it matters is to learn the power of giving thanks. Practice and feel into gratitude each day. When we give thanks to life, the air we breathe, the water we drink, to Mother Nature, to the stars, the ocean, the sun, the moon, the service providers, the farmers, the food we have to eat, our loved ones, our family, our friends, our social connections, our mentors, and to ourselves, we are practicing self care. Each day when I rise in the morning, the first words I like to whisper are thank you. I say thank you for giving me another day to live, explore, love, be, create, do, have, and more. And I invite you to do the same. Practice more gratitude, and everything will multiply for you. Now, let's conclude today's conversation with the knowing that you can change your life. You can improve your health, your mental well-being, and state of mind by creating practical self-care habits. We all are infinite beings and are connected to a source of knowing, a source of divine energy. Making time for self-care is one of the most important things we can do for our longevity and well-being. Self-care is an ongoing commitment to look after your beautiful self. I'd love to know what self-care habits you practice and or will be practicing after listening to this episode. Because remember that health is the greatest wealth you can have, and self-care is about taking small, consistent steps to maintain and improve your overall well-being. Stay happy and healthy, friends. Join me here weekly or visit my Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or website for more information like this. And if you love what you heard today, please subscribe or share with your friends and family and let the conversation expand. I would love to have you here and join me on this journey to wholeness, happiness, and well-being. Once again, thank you for tuning in today, for trusting me. I'm grateful knowing that you are listening and doing the work for your well-being and wholeness. Let us live, eat, be for a life full of vitality and more. It's been a pleasure having this conversation today, sending love, blessings, and vitality and more your way. And if you're keen to chat with me, get in touch via the Contact Us page on my website or via my social media pages, and let's get this conversation growing. This is all very new to me, but feels so refreshing. I'm truly excited to see where it continues to land. Namaste, beautiful friends. Until next time, and keep that self-care growing.